Imagine waking up every morning, drowning in debt with nothing but fear in your mind. That was me. I wasn't born rich, I didn't have a trust fund, and I didn't have a safety net. I had bills I couldn't pay, loan sharks calling me, and a future that looked hopeless. And yet, today, I stand here telling you the truth. I went from being buried in debt to becoming a millionaire. Not overnight, not through luck, not by winning the lottery, but through discipline, strategy, and a complete transformation of how I thought about money and about life itself. And in this video, I'm going to share the exact journey with you, step by step. I want to start with the reality of debt. People think debt is just numbers on a piece of paper, but when you're inside of it, it's a prison. Every day you wake up with a chain around your neck. I remember lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, calculating how many months it would take me to just break even if I skipped meals, if I sold my belongings. Debt eats away at your confidence. It makes you feel like you're not worthy of success. That was the mental state I was in, completely crushed but desperate to find a way out. And maybe you're in that same position right now, and if you are, listen closely. There's a way out, and I'm living proof. The first turning point for me was accepting responsibility. It's easy to blame the economy, the government, or bad luck. But here's the raw truth. As long as you believe your problems are someone else's fault, you'll never change your life. The day I said, "This is my fault, and therefore it's my responsibility to fix it," was the day everything shifted. It wasn't about guilt, it was about power. Because if I was the one who put myself here, I could also be the one to get myself out. That mindset shift was the seed of my financial freedom. Next came the brutal phase, cutting. I had to strip my lifestyle down to the bone. No eating out, no useless subscriptions, no random shopping. I lived cheaper than cheap. And yes, it was painful. My friends laughed, my family thought I was crazy, but I had a vision. I decided that every dollar I saved wasn't just money, it was freedom. It was a brick in the foundation of my future wealth. I treated saving money like a game, almost like a sport. I wasn't trying to impress anyone anymore. I was trying to win my life back, but saving alone wasn't enough. You can't shrink your way into wealth, you have to grow. That's when I realized I needed to earn more. At first, I picked up side hustles. I did everything from freelancing to selling online. I worked weekends, I worked nights. And while my friends were relaxing, I was building. That extra income wasn't glamorous, but it was fuel. I used every extra cent not to upgrade my lifestyle, but to destroy my debt. Slowly, month by month, the numbers started to change. Then came the most important decision I ever made: investing in myself. I realized that no one was going to hand me success. I had to build skills the world would pay for. I read books on money, I studied investing, I learned about business. Knowledge became my new addiction. And the more I learned, the more I saw opportunities that I had been blind to before. Instead of spending money on temporary pleasures, I invested in courses, mentors, and resources that built my long-term value. Once I killed my debt, I faced a new question. Now that I'm free, how do I become rich? The answer was leverage. I started a business. At first, it was smally, selling digital products, offering services online. But I treated it seriously. I reinvested profits instead of spending them. I learned about systems, automation, and how to build income streams that didn't depend on me working 24/7. It wasn't easy. I failed multiple times, I lost money, I felt like quitting. But here's the truth: success is built on a pile of failures that you refuse to stop climbing. Over the years, the small wins began to stack. The side hustle became a business, the business became profitable, and eventually I had more money flowing in than flowing out. I went from worrying about late payments to making investments in real estate, stocks, and digital assets. And with each smart decision, my net worth grew. Slowly. Then suddenly, I was no longer the broke kid drowning in debt. I was a millionaire. And the craziest part, I didn't feel different. The world didn't hand me a trophy. What changed was my perspective. I no longer worked for money, money worked for me. Looking back, the journey from debt to millionaire wasn't about money at all. It was about mindset. It was about breaking free from the excuses, the bad habits, and the short-term thinking that keeps most people trapped forever. If you take anything away from my story, let it be this: you are one decision away from changing your life, the decision to take ownership, the decision to start small, the decision to invest in yourself. So here's my message to you. If I could do it, starting from a place of hopelessness and debt, then so can you. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now. Make the decision today that years from now, you'll look back and say, that was the day everything changed. Because trust me, if you commit, if you stay disciplined, if you refuse to quit, one day you'll wake up and realize you're no longer the person buried in debt. You're the person others look at and say, how did they do it? And you'll smile because you'll know the answer. Step by step, with courage, vision, and the relentless belief that your future can be greater than your past. From debt to millionaire, my true story. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You wake up every day with a knot in your stomach, knowing that the bills are piling up, knowing that no matter how hard you work, it feels like you're drowning in quicksand. That was me. I wasn't just broke, I was buried in debt. Credit cards, loans, late payments. My phone rang constantly with numbers I didn't recognize because I knew they were collectors. And in those moments, I thought life had already beaten me. But here's the truth, that rock bottom moment became the very foundation of my success. And today, I'm not just debt-free. I'm a millionaire. This isn't a fairy tale. It's my real story. The first turning point came when I accepted responsibility. I had to stop blaming bad luck, the system, or my circumstances. I realized that as long as I kept pointing the finger, I'd stay stuck. So I made a decision: if I created this mess, then I also had the power to fix it. That mindset shift gave me back control over my life. The second step was sacrifice. I cut everything non-essential. No eating out. No buying things I didn't need. I sold what I could. People around me thought I was crazy, but I didn't care anymore. Every single dollar became a soldier fighting for my freedom. Saving wasn't about money. It was about reclaiming my life. Then came the grind. I picked up every side hustle I could, freelancing, selling online. Working weekends while others were partying, I was building. And every extra dollar went straight into crushing my debt. Slowly, painfully, the chains started to loosen. Month by month, I watched the numbers go down, and with them, the weight on my chest. But I knew that saving and hustling alone wouldn't make me rich. The real breakthrough came when I invested in myself. I studied money. I learned about investing, business, and how to create systems that worked even when I wasn't working. I turned my energy from survival to growth, and when I finally killed my debt, I redirected that same energy into building. I started small businesses, failed, tried again, and kept going. I reinvested profits instead of spending them. I learned about leverage, how to use money, knowledge, and technology to multiply results. Over time, those little wins stacked up. And then, one day, I realized something unbelievable. I was no longer the person crushed by debt. I was a millionaire. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. There was no magic moment. No instant success. No overnight win. It was daily discipline, painful sacrifice, and the refusal to quit when it felt impossible. That's the real story. And if you're watching this, buried in debt, feeling hopeless, listen carefully. I am living proof that it's possible, but it starts with a decision. A decision to take ownership. A decision to start small. A decision to stop waiting for luck and instead build your own future. Because if I could go from debt to millionaire, starting from nothing, then so can you. Step by step, day by day, you can climb out of the hole and build a life that once felt impossible. Your future is waiting. The only question is, will you take the first step today?